Welcome back. This is Bent Discipline with another lesson in the series. Today I'm going to go over contracts. Now, I use a very specific contract that I had built for myself. At the end of the video, I will show you how you can get a version of that so you can edit it and use it for yourself. I encourage everyone to use a contract, and there's two main reasons. One, it acts as a legal condom because there's no ambiguity. People understand exactly what they're getting into and they've agreed to it. And two, it makes sure that everybody's on the same page so that the dominant knows and the submissive knows exactly what's expected of them and of their partner. So I'm just going to go over the contract that I had built. Here it is, mutual contract of domination and submission. And it just goes over the role of the submissive, the veto rights of the submissive, and you can change these obviously. And I encourage anybody who's getting into a contract to negotiate and change the things that they want to change before they sign it. And that's very important. So if you're a dominant and you say to your submissive, hey, I'd like you to sign this contract, you have to make sure that she is able to and willing to change anything that needs to get changed so that she's in full agreement with what she's signing. Otherwise, it's not truly binding. So then there's safe words. Now, it's very easy to just use very common ones because, it doesn't have to be complicated. If you want to make it personalized, yes, you can use very complicated. But I got to be honest with you, in the midst of a scene, a sub may not remember some random safe word. Okay, so what's expected from the sub in general and how she's to talk to you. You can go into great detail about this, and sometimes there's things that you may want to add that other people don't, or vice versa. There might be something that I put in my contract that really makes no sense. Again, how she dresses, how she's preparing herself, and then the master's role, what he's responsible for. Differences between punishment, the rules of punishment, rules of discipline, any bodily harm. Again, this is just safety issues. A lot of these things are safety. Limits. Now, something that I always include in my contracts, which you'll see in a moment, is that it references the checklist, and the checklist acts as a living document, meaning that after every single scene, your sub should be able to email you an updated copy, and that's the one you go by. Because it's really hard to set a standard or set the rules of engagement, and especially when it comes to limits, if things change all the time. Like a sub's attitude towards things changes sometimes on a minute-to-minute basis, but definitely from one scene to the next. She may have experienced something in the last scene that she wants to explore more, so her limits have changed or her interests have changed, and the reverse. Maybe she's like, oh wow, now that I've tried this, maybe I should also try. I'm also now open to trying more things or less things. So maybe she tried something once and she's like, whoa, I never want to do that again. And so she'll have the option to go into her checklist and change it from a maybe to a never. And so that's what I do. I make sure that there's a component of the contract that's a living document that can be updated regularly and that you can both agree on. So at the bottom, we have our signatures. I talk about secrecy and alterations to the contract, that you both have to agree on it. And in every contract, I make sure that there's a 2-week trial period. And the reason for that is that, especially if it's a brand new submissive or it's a brand new relationship, you've never been with each other, you don't know necessarily if this person is right for you. And it's not until you have a chance to actually, I don't know if this sounds right, but test drive them or try them out to see if they're giving you what you need and you're giving them what they need. So a 2-week trial period where it's basically saying, listen, we're going to try this out, and if it doesn't work, there's no hard feelings. More than likely, if you get to that point, you've already figured out a lot of stuff, and it's more than likely that the contract will succeed. But it's also important to have that out, and it gives the sub a sense of security knowing that she hasn't just signed her life away for X given amount of time. She has a 2-week trial that she can make up her mind. Also, my first contracts with a brand new sub would always be like 3 months. And the reason for that is it's long enough to get a taste of what's expected and the scenes and the relationship, but it's not so long that you can't see the end of it. So that's why it's a 3-month contract. And so here we have them both signed. Now, you could do this digitally or physically. I would prefer doing it physically, so it's on paper. It's more of a commitment, and you can hold on to a physical copy of it. This is something that is never done in vanilla world, and it probably should be done because it'd be less mistakes and ambiguity and less of this back and forth pretending that they don't like the other person but actually do liking the other person. This is very straightforward. It makes sense for me, and I think it makes sense for a lot of people. So if you are interested in a copy of this so that you can edit it for your purposes, simply send me a message on FetLife to Bent Discipline. I will get your message to say, listen, I'm interested in getting a copy of this contract, and include your email, and I will forward a copy for you. Thank you very much. Be safe.